This version of Excel 2010 highlights within the Tools ribbon that is in Start. It highlights the new button Format as Table. Format as Table, what it does is, a set of data that has a certain characteristic. For example, all of them are data or homogeneous records of the columns. They are data that are of the same types, etc. We see that this forms a part. It has set features. Okay, this button here to Format as Table not only serves to apply a given format, that is, to highlight all of the cells in a certain way, but it is also going to turn it into an Excel data table. And it will apply a number of very interesting features like, for example, we see here when we hit this button, when any cell in this table is selected, Excel realizes that all these cells are part of this whole that we want to turn into a set. It says, where are the data of the table? And it suggests precisely all those data that form part of this set, since I have neither empty rows in the middle nor empty columns. It realizes that this is a whole, and it suggests it to me. It has realized that the table has headers. That is, that the first row of all the columns is of a different type to the content, so it suspects, in this case rightly, that is a row of headers. When we hit Accept, automatically, the format that we had requested is applied to this table. But furthermore, we see that in the headers row, it has put some very useful icons for operating with them as if it were a table. What are the different options? We see that it has a header row as discovered, and the format it has applied is this format that I had selected with blue colors, and we see that it has put each of the rows in blue or white, because this is the format I gave it. So it could have been red, or it could have been black. But what it does is the rows are different bands for readability, so that if I have very large data set, I don't get lost easily when reading which data correspond to the same record. That is, that Patricia's grade, we will leave it in black because it looks better. Patricia's grade is in the whites and it is very clear it is the 6.10. I haven't got lost. We also see that the formats that came from a previous phase, which are flat or conditional formats, are more important and are very common on table formats. We see that it is optional whether the rows appear as bands or whether I have the most usual format in Excel, where I don't indicate the color bands. I could also indicate that the first column is very special, so it highlights it in bold, or that the last column, if it were totals for instance, or in this case of the scores, which is a final result, I could highlight them with a special format. And we could also apply the bands to the different columns for readability if they were all numerical data very similar to each other. As this is not our case, it is not very suitable to use this table option.
Okay.
So we see that we have a lot of possibilities within the formats we can apply to the table, and truly we see that on many occasions it can be very useful to apply table formats and obtain in doing so make use of advanced features of a data table.